Gives me great pleasure to be able to announce today that we're welcoming back Mal Meninga to the fold. We've been talking about bringing Mal back into the Raiders for some time. He moved back to Canberra recently, once he established himself back in Canberra, to get our greatest ever player back here, our only immortal, someone that's done everything at this club, coached it, been on the board, played, captained the club, will be invaluable for us going forward. So on behalf of the board and the Raiders, I just want to officially welcome Mal Meninga back to the club in a role which will be wide-reaching and valuable for Rick and the coaching staff.
So I'm obviously very proud and privileged and pleased that I get an opportunity to come back to the club and work in some capacity, whether it be consultancy or advisory or mentoring. Looking forward to the opportunity. Raiders through and through, so very fortunate the club held me in that light to ask me to be involved, and as Don mentioned, it was a pretty easy decision, so it's something that I'd love to do. I want to thank the National Rugby League, the Australian Rugby League Commission, for allowing me to hold this position as well within the club, obviously with my role as the Kangaroo coach as well. So it's a very exciting time I think for the club. It is a very good young roster, and looking forward to being around and helping out in any way I can.
How nice is it, Mal, to be back in green? How much you cherish your time at the club?
Well, I live here, so I've always been supportive of the Raiders. As Don mentioned, I've played here and I've coached here, and living in Canberra is one of my when I was growing up, you'd never think I'd live in Canberra, but Canberra's one of those spots that I love being at. It's a great place to bring up kids. It's a great place to, from a quality of life point of view, and really enjoy being here.
We saw earlier in the year the team at Magic Round when you guys celebrated the 30th anniversary, and all the team in the sheds. What does that feel like when you see the current team and how much they embrace that champion side?
Well, it's forever green, so that's the thing that you get out of being here and being part of this club, is that you're never forgotten, which is really important. History plays a really important part in the DNA of this club as well, and to be around those ex-players and the players, the current players, was a fantastic feeling that you don't forget, and we want to obviously continue along those veins as well. So we're always going to celebrate our history, and I'm looking forward to being part of influencing hopefully the next successful generation of Raiders players.
What excites you about this current group that you've seen already?
I think if you even look outside the club, people who've got a great understanding of the game will tell you that they've got a great group of young players, and playing first grade at the moment that's a big achievement at their age in the National Rugby League, which is a professional competition, and I think they're holding their own. So given another couple of years of experience, it lead to, I believe, can lead to a lot of success.
Just heard you sprouting Canberra as a place to live. That's always been the hard bit, convincing people to come here. Once they get here, they seem to love it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, there's that psyche around cold, I guess, and and what Canberra is, I guess, from a DNA point of view, with the public servants and politicians. That's the way that they sort of media hold it. We'll talk about it, Canberra this and Canberra that, for all the bad reasons, all the wrong reasons, So, but I know of. I'm a living example of that. How great it is. I came here to play rugby league, but I fell in love with the city. And if coal's your only problem with living anywhere, I think you're mistaken, because I've played footy in England and the north of Europe, and been to Canada and all those sort of places. This is not cold. This is beautiful. It's another great day in Canberra, and it's the sunniest capital. I keep on saying it's the sunniest capital in Australia. So cold is not an issue.
Just on the playing group here, Ricky's brought in a lot of young guys rather than sort of throwing money elsewhere. How valuable can that be in the long term, investing in that?
Well, great value bringing the young kids in, and an opportunity this year to give them that experience around what is a great group of experienced leaders like, Joe Tarpany and Josh Papali and, Hudson Young and Elliot Whitehead being his last year here. All those types of players, Jamal Fogarty, are really good role models, really good mentors for them, and I think, really good people, which is really important, when you come to the Canberra Raiders. So, they're in a group, in an environment I think, can only improve them definitely and develop them as people and as players.
You mentioned Upper there, he's a couple of games away from 300 for the club as well. What kind of standing does he have around here?
Well, I think, from Papa's point of view, he's Canberra through and through. He came here as a young kid, through the juniors and played all his career here, which is great. He had some moments there, but he thought better and to stay in Canberra. He's certainly one of the greater front rowers that has played our game, and certainly one of the greatest front rowers that played for the Canberra Raiders, and held in high regard, not only within the club but certainly outside the club as well. So he's been a great person and play for the Raiders.
How excited are you to be working with the pathways and the young players coming through?
Oh, that's what you always dream about doing, So from an experience point of view, I've been there, done that. So hopefully, another voice, as Don said. I think it's really important that the players have many voices coming out, particularly coaches and other influences outside that, family and managers and stuff like that. So sometimes they just need to get away from all that and come, and talk, or someone to listen to them about, what's going on in their lives. And generally it's nothing to do with the footy, to be honest with you. It's mainly to do with what's happening outside the footy. So hopefully I can offer some advice there, or just lend an ear, and send them on the right path.